It is said that in ancient times there lived a judge named Zaran who became famous for his intelligence, wisdom, and cleverness in restoring people's rights and protecting the oppressed. He earned this reputation after solving 3 of the most difficult cases brought before him. The first case, it is said that 2 men lived next door to each other. One of them was kind-hearted, while the other was deceitful and cunning. The good neighbor had no idea that the man living beside him possessed such dishonest qualities. One day, the deceitful neighbor fell into financial hardship and had nothing in his house to satisfy his hunger. He went to his neighbor's home to ask for a loan, but the kind neighbor was not there. His wife told him that her husband had gone to work early that morning and had not yet returned, so the deceitful man decided to go and meet him at his workplace. While walking along the road, he saw his neighbor returning from work. He stopped him and explained that he had fallen on hard times, asking to borrow 1,000 dirhams. Without hesitation, the kind neighbor agreed to lend him the money. There was a palm tree nearby, and he said, "God willing, tomorrow I will arrange the 1,000 dirhams for you. Meet me here beside this palm tree." The next day, the deceitful neighbor arrived at the agreed place and found the kind neighbor waiting beside the palm tree, just as promised. The kind man had gathered the 1,000 dirhams and handed them over. The deceitful neighbor said, "I will repay you in 3 months." The kind neighbor agreed without asking for any written document or witness to prove the loan. 3 months later, the kind neighbor went to collect his money, but the deceitful man denied ever borrowing the 1,000 dirhams. The kind neighbor was deeply saddened. He thought to himself, "We have reached a time when kindness is repaid with evil and good deeds with betrayal." However, he had heard about Judge Zaran and his remarkable wisdom in defending the oppressed and restoring justice. So he went to the judge and told him everything that had happened. After listening carefully, Judge Zaran ordered one of the guards to bring in the deceitful neighbor. When the man arrived, the judge looked at him and said, "Your neighbor claims that he lent you 1,000 dirhams. Is what he says true?" The deceitful neighbor immediately denied the accusation. "My lord," he said, "I have never taken anything from my neighbor, nor have I ever borrowed money from him. What he is saying is nothing but lies." Judge Zaran then turned to the kind neighbor and asked, "Do you have any witness or written proof that he borrowed the money?" The man replied, "No, my lord. I trusted my neighbor, and it never crossed my mind that he would deny my right." Judge Zaran sensed that the kind neighbor was telling the truth. He thought for a moment, and then said, "If what you say is true, go and bring me a handful of soil from the place where you gave him the money." The kind neighbor was surprised by the request, but he obeyed immediately and hurried to the place where he had handed over the money. Time passed, and the man had not yet returned. Judge Zaran looked at the deceitful neighbor and suddenly asked, "Your neighbor has been gone for quite a while. Do you know why he is taking so long?" Without thinking, the deceitful neighbor replied, "Because that place is very far from here." Judge Zaran smiled and said, "Now you have exposed yourself. How could you know where the place is, or how far away it is, if you claim you were never there and never borrowed the money? Your own words prove that you were present when the loan was given." The deceitful neighbor was stunned. Realizing that he had trapped himself with his own words, he confessed to borrowing the 1,000 dirhams and admitted that greed had led him to deny the debt. Judge Zaran ordered him to return the full amount to its rightful owner and rebuked him for his dishonesty and betrayal of trust. Thus, justice was served. The oppressed man recovered his right, and the wrongdoer received the punishment he deserved.